What is up, guys? So, as some of you have seen on my YouTube channel, I like to be punny and think of different ways to interpret things. However, that's kind of the natural way that my brain is. I like to do things a lot more literally because that's how I first interpret them. So, in one of the videos that I just published, like for how did the clock die, secondhand smoke, like be the second hand of the clock. And so a lot of times when I first hear something like the word secondhand smoke, that's what first comes to my mind is something with a hand. And then I take that one step further by associating with the clock. So, like let's say for secondhand smoke, I would associate a clock, and then that's a great starting ground for a joke. And because it's kind of original, I'm able to use that as a joke. But on the flip side, a lot of times, processing things in a more literal way has its downfalls a lot. Sometimes I'm not able to understand the context of something when it's first used. I can't really think of an example right now, but sometimes it won't allow me to process it in a way that's actually what's happening in the world rather than what I picture in my own head. So that's the way I tend to remember it, the first image that pops into my head. And so it can be a bit of a struggle trying to interpret words when they're first spoken out loud, as that takes my mind a little while longer to actually process it. Sometimes I need pictures, sometimes I just need to do the motions, but a lot of times if someone were to give me a lot of instructions to follow, like make sure before you leave the house that you clean your room, you vacuum, you do the dishes, and make sure that the microwave is off. Maybe all I heard was the microwave is off because it sounded the most odd to me, like microwave. Okay, I like microwaves. Microwaves can nuke things and explode things, so that's what stands out in my mind. And it's not necessarily that I didn't hear, the rest of what was said. It's just that's what stuck out to me, and that's the only thing that formed an image in my head. Therefore, that was the only thing that I remembered to do. So, just remember that when interacting with someone with autism, if you have autism or somebody else that you know has autism, when you tell them something and they only seem to respond to some of it, it's not necessarily because they didn't understand you or they didn't hear you or they don't know what you're talking about. It might just be that they didn't picture it and it didn't register within their head. They heard you perfectly clear. They heard you perfectly fine. It's just what stuck out and what actually formed the memory in their head is a totally different story. So my advice, if you have something that you want to tell a person with autism, or if you're a person with autism who wants to communicate to another person with autism, try to break things down into smaller steps. Like if you want them to turn the microwave off, you could say, can you turn the microwave off? And then they do that. And then you give them another step, like can you turn the kitchen light off? And that's okay, because sometimes it just takes little steps in order to equal something bigger. I have a lot of trouble with executive functioning, which is basically planning ahead and trying to figure out what to do because it's so overwhelming to me. And I've been trying to break it down into smaller steps for myself, but sometimes even then I get really overwhelmed. So sometimes I need a little help. And basically having someone there to help me say, like, here's a little bit of something that you need to do, here's another little bit of something that you need to do, here's another little bit, but to allow me the time to try to execute that command. I'm a person that likes to, as soon as someone says something, I need to do it. So if someone says 3 things at once, I feel like I need to do it, and then I automatically get overwhelmed. So if you know anybody that's like me, try to break it down into smaller steps and allow them some time to get the task done. Because it can be a little bit overwhelming to be told like 5 things at once, and then suddenly your brain, the way that you register is like, let's do it! And you end up not doing any of it at all because it's just so overwhelming, and that's a lot to do. So I hope this video helped. Like it if it did. If you have any comments, critiques, anything that you guys want me to talk more about concerning autism, or ask me a question, or perhaps you're wondering maybe what some other people on the spectrum might have trouble with doing, or just kind of to talk about common struggles. And just something to keep in mind is that no two people on the spectrum are alike. Although there are common similarities in the way that we all process things, some of us may have more sensory issues, some of us may have more executive functioning issues, some of us may blend in to appear normal. Some of us may decide that we really like being our authentic, eccentric selves. But yeah, just something to keep in mind, that no two people on the spectrum are the same, just as anybody else is. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed, and subscribe for more content, or if you just really like the jokes, do that too. So have a great day, and I hope to see you all soon.